So, have you ever wondered why life feels boring? That for absolutely no reason, like nothing big has happened, but you just feel like life is getting boring and boring for basically no reason. It feels like everything's very meaningless and in a very repetitive cycle. So, the concept I'm going to share with you today is called a hedonic treadmill. And this is one of the reasons why this might be happening. Because by our very human nature, things will gradually lose its novelty and interest over time. And that's what I'm going to explain today. If if you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and of course the bell. So the outline today I'll be talking about is first, what exactly is the hedonic treadmill? Two is how does this affect our satisfaction in life? Because if we feel bored all the time, how does this concept impact that? And the third one is how does this impact your life? So first, what exactly is the hedonic treadmill? This is the definition I pulled off. A hedonic treadmill is the tendency of a person to remain at a relatively stable level of happiness despite a change in fortune or the achievement of major goals. I know when you heard that definition, you might be thinking to yourself, what the heck does that mean? Because I had to read that a few times to kind of understand what it's saying. What it's basically saying is that whenever we have a new experience, something that gives us joy, pleasure, happiness, and that experience is there, our expectations will always catch up to that experience. So meaning that everything that you have that's really new, novel, will eventually become the norm. This means that if you got an amazing looking sweater, first time you saw it, you were like, this is the most amazing sweater ever. I'm gonna wear this every single day. But then after 6 months, a year, it starts to become just something you have. You're like, yeah, of course, this is just a sweater. It doesn't feel that big of a deal. And this happens because of the hedonic treadmill. Because that first initial hit of the newness, the novelty, that only happens once. Anything can only be new once. So that's why that sense of novelty, the new experience, is what is causing that interest in your life. And I know that some of you might be thinking, wait, but how can some people enjoy singing for 20 years of their life? I'll get into that. So how does this impact our satisfaction in life? Yep, you guessed it. If we constantly adjust and adapt ourselves to new environments, new experiences, then that means we'll constantly need new experiences to keep this life more interesting. So the key here lies within the first time experience. Because you remember that I was saying before how the first time, the newness, the novelty is what brings that interest into your life because there's change. That is what you want to look for, and that's something you have to incorporate into your life because without it, then you will feel discontent, dissatisfied over time because it feels like you are on a loop, on a cycle. This is the difference between when you first time you have ate pizza, right? First time you ate pizza, tastes absolutely amazing. It's like, wow, this is one of the best food that's ever been created. But after the 20th, 50th time, pizzas start to taste, well, it doesn't taste bad, but it doesn't taste as good as the first time. And with that, you have to go find a new food that you want to try out. And that first time will be like, wow, this is the most amazing food ever. And then it will start to have that same effect. So in other words, we have to constantly make discoveries. So now this gets into our last point. What exactly does this mean for you? I mean, if you don't want a boring life, then you have to go on a journey. That's one of the reasons why I feel like we actually enjoy movies. Because when we're watching movies, it's like we are committed to spending 2 to 3 hours going on a journey with the movie character. And with it, we feel something different about us coming out, a lesson, a satisfaction of a journey. What this really means is that we were meant for growth. I feel like that's one of the things that this is implying, that if we constantly do the same things, have the same experiences over and over again, then we'll just get used to it. And in order to break out of this cycle, there's really two things that you can do, and both of them involves goals. So first, why goals? Remember what I talked about going on a journey? Every journey has a destination, and that destination is your goal. So right now, you're pretty much designing a journey for yourself to go on. And this can be something small. This can be learning a new skill or trying to accomplish a small task or something. But you have to go on a journey, and this is what that goal entails. The first option you have is you can set a goal for yourself where you can constantly have a lot of first experiences in a lot of different areas. So for instance, let's say if I've never drew anything in my life before, and I've made it my goal to draw a realistic looking dog. Yeah, I know, so it gives me kind of motivation to draw it. But the first time I'm looking at that picture and that realistic sketch, in my mind I'm thinking, wow, this is impossible. I will never be able to do something so amazing like that. So what this means is that I have to go and be able to learn a bunch of small skills that allows me to get to this point. I have to learn things maybe like shading, learning how to draw things in three-dimensional to kind of bring in that different depth. How do I shape and make sure that the proportions are right so that the dog actually looks like a dog? There are different things that I have to learn to get to that point. And all the things I just mentioned are all first-time experiences because I've never seen those things before, and I'm learning them for the first time, and it feels challenging, but that brings things that are more interesting into my life. That moment when you feel like you're pretty good at something, it's kind of like that moment in the movie where the hero has fallen and then gets beaten up so badly, and then suddenly the hero learns a new skill and then comes back, and then it's like super powerful and comes back and then just beats the enemy like nothing. It's kind of like that moment where you feel like, wow, I have gained something, that now I have acquired a skill set that I can use and I can expand myself that much more. That's kind of like that feeling. If you don't have a lot of experiences, use this to expand your experiences. You can do things like skydiving, learning how to make mochi, learning Russian, do things like black and white photography. The options are pretty much endless because every time these things happen, you're picking up a new experience and learning something, feeling something, and that will enable you to feel like you're growing in the process. And on top of that, you just touch on a bunch of small things that are within this world, and you can now share that with other people, and that makes you a more interesting person as well. And the best part about this whole process is that you set the pace. If you want to take 1 and 2 years learning how to draw, then do that. If you want to only take 3 months into how to explore something, then do that. It's completely up to your pace in terms of how fast you want to go. Now the second option you have is a specialized goal. I know I mentioned before about how some people can become so interested in, let's say, singing for 20 years. This part happens because the person is specializing in a goal. Taking the same example for drawing, Let's say for instance that I am already a decent drawer. I'm not Picasso, but I can draw. Here now it's time for me to set a specialized goal, because I don't want to just be a average drawer. I want to be amazing at what I draw. So I set a goal and I started looking for people that are amazing artists online, and I want to draw like those people. So I pick a person, or I start collecting different styles of art that I like, and I start to try to understand how exactly do I paint like that. And you can see that through this process, I'm specializing my goal. Within the domain of painting, I'm starting to acquire more and more skill sets to become an expert in that area. I'm still growing, having a lot of new experiences, but it's all focused within one sector. And then the end result for this goal is I probably will learn things like new techniques, new approaches, color theory, how to actually balance the art and where to put different objects, what kind of things to draw. It will really evolve my drawing as a whole when I go on this journey to draw better. And that is the hedonic treadmill. In order to not feel like life is boring, you have to reach and grow for something. And here I want to explicitly say that I am not endorsing dangerous activities or drugs. Those are not the way to go. That's why I'm endorsing people to learn different skill sets, grow as an individual, maybe friendships, maybe archery, skydiving, those kind of things. Things that you can learn to grow in and be able to experience new things, like experiencing new food. These kind of things will help you break out of that cycle if you embed them into your life over time. So if you're feeling bored right now, you actually have a chance to go out and do something special. If you like this video, you can like, share, subscribe, comment, and that is it. Hope you guys got something out of this.